People talk about success like it's some kind of lucky break. Like you wake up one day, step outside, and boom, everything you ever wanted is waiting with your name on it. But I've been around long enough to know that's not how it works. Success doesn't come easy. It comes when you're uncomfortable, when you're tired, when your back's against the wall. Comfort zones are where dreams go to die. They're warm, familiar, and dangerously quiet. That's the trap. It feels good because it's easy. You don't sweat there. You don't fail there. But you also don't win. You don't build anything great inside a life that's been set to cruise control. And people don't get that. They think comfort is the goal. Like the perfect life is one where nothing goes wrong, where no one challenges you, where every day looks just like the last. But that kind of life, that's not living, that's just surviving. And surviving doesn't make you stronger. It doesn't sharpen your edge. It doesn't shape you into something dangerous. It keeps you soft. When you're comfortable, you're not learning. You're not evolving. You're not growing into the kind of person who can handle real power, real risk, real reward. You're just existing in a loop, doing what, staying where it's safe, never pushing past the point of resistance. And let me tell you something real, nothing incredible ever comes from the easy path. No championship, no empire, no legacy. Comfort zones are padded prisons. You lock yourself inside and convince yourself you're free because nothing's threatening you. But the truth is, you're not protected. You're trapped. You're trapped by fear, by routine, by your own belief that staying still is somehow safer than moving forward and falling. Growth, that happens at the edge, right where it burns, right where your confidence starts to shake, right where your hands sweat and your mind tells you to back down. That's the line. And every time you step over it, you get stronger. You don't need a perfect plan. You need the guts to move when everything in you wants to sit still. Growth isn't pretty. It's gritty. It's brutal. It shows up in failure, in frustration, in nights where you question everything. But if you can push through that, if you can keep showing up when it's uncomfortable, that's when you start becoming someone different. Someone unrecognizable from the version of you that stayed in the safe zone. People want results, but don't want the discomfort that builds them. They want the body without the pain, the money without the risk, the respect without the grind. That's fantasy. That's not how it works in the real world. You earn everything worth having by going where most people won't. You take hits, you bleed, you get knocked down and dragged through the dirt, but you keep moving. That movement, that decision to keep going even when it hurts, that's where the growth lies. You can't become powerful without paying the price. You can't build muscle without resistance. You can't become disciplined without pain. And you sure as hell can't become successful by staying comfortable. The world rewards the bold, the ones who step out and keep stepping, the ones who don't need a guarantee to move, the ones who treat fear as fuel. Comfort tells you you've done enough. Growth tells you there's more to reach for. Comfort tells you to slow down. Growth tells you to shift gears. Comfort whispers, stay small, stay safe. Growth screams, rise up, go further. You have to choose who you're going to listen to, because you can't have both. You can't live in your comfort zone and expect to grow into your potential. One has to die for the other to live. And you know what else? The comfort zone is seductive. It doesn't hit you all at once. It creeps in. It starts small, skipping a workout, settling for average, avoiding hard conversations. Before you know it, it's your whole life. You've become someone who plays not to lose instead of playing to win. And that's dangerous, because the longer you stay comfortable, the harder it is to break out. You lose your edge. You stop chasing. You forget what it feels like to fight for something real. That's why you've got to stay sharp. Stay uncomfortable. Put yourself in situations that demand more from you. Surround yourself with people who challenge you. not just cheer for you. You need tension. You need friction. You need resistance. That's what keeps you climbing. That's what keeps you alive. Comfort is not the goal. Growth is. Progress is. Power is. And those things live outside the walls of your familiar life. If it's easy, you're not growing. If it's predictable, you're not being stretched. And if it doesn't scare you a little, you're not aiming high enough. Get uncomfortable. Get in the dirt. Take the hit. Make the leap. Because every time you break out of that comfort zone, you're not just leveling up your life. You're becoming the kind of person who doesn't settle, who doesn't stop, who doesn't shrink when things get hard. That kind of person, unstoppable. That kind of life, worth everything. Let me know if you'd like the next keynote expanded in the same style. Pressure isn't the enemy. It's the test. It's the weight that either crushes you or carves you into something unbreakable. Most people run from pressure. They avoid it. They panic under it. But the ones who understand what pressure really is, they lean into it. They know it's not there to destroy them. It's there to develop them. You don't find out who you really are when everything's easy. You find out when life puts its boot on your neck and asks, how bad do you want it? That's where character is revealed. That's where strength is born. Not in silence, not in peace, but in the fire of chaos and stress and pain. Diamonds are made under extreme heat and pressure, not by staying cold and untouched in a box. Same with you. If life isn't pressing on you, stretching you, pushing you beyond your limits, then you're not growing. You're coasting. And coasting might feel good, but it won't make you great. You want to be stronger. Get under some real weight. You want to lead. Face real pressure. Anyone can talk when the world's quiet. But can you stay focused when everything's collapsing? Can you keep your hands steady when the stakes are high and fear's crawling up your spine? That's what pressure does. It strips away the fake. The weak fold. The real ones rise. Pressure doesn't ask for permission. It just shows up. A sick family member, a failing business, a betrayal, a broken plan. And in that moment, you've got two options: collapse or compress, break or break through. And what you choose, that's who you are. Because when the pressure hits, the truth comes out. Every fake confidence, every lazy excuse, every comfort you've been hiding in, it all gets burned away. And what's left? That's your core. That's your foundation. If it's strong, you rise. If it's weak, you fall. Simple. People say they want greatness, but they don't want the weight that comes with it. They want the shine without the grind, the crown without the cross. It doesn't work like that. You don't earn real strength until you've been tested over and over again in situations that don't care about your feelings. Stress builds structure. Pain builds patience. Pressure builds power. That's not motivational fluff. That's survival. That's how the streets work. That's how real life works. Every level you climb comes with new heat. And if you don't adapt, if you don't get stronger, you melt under it. Pressure is the builder of warriors. You take someone who's never been through anything, and they look clean on the outside, but soft on the inside. No grit, no depth, no durability. But you take someone who's been through storms, someone who's had to hold it together when the world was falling apart. And that person, different breed. They've been hardened, sharpened, tempered like steel. They don't flinch under fire. They don't complain when things get tight because they've learned to trust the process. They've learned that every breakdown leads to a breakthrough. If you don't quit. See, pressure has a way of reminding you who you are. It wakes you up. It forces you to focus. When the comfort's gone, when the options disappear, and the only thing left is you and your will, that's when you get real. That's when you stop looking for the easy way out and start digging deep. You stop being afraid of failure and start using it like fuel. You stop running from the pressure and start walking straight into it. Because Once you've survived enough storms, you stop fearing the next one. You start realizing that pressure isn't your punishment, it's your promotion. The most powerful people didn't get that way by chance. They were molded, hammered, tested. The ones who shine the brightest were once buried the deepest. They weren't made on soft paths, they were built in battle. Life hit them, and they hit back harder. That's what pressure does. It doesn't just shape you, it gives you your edge, your reason, your resilience. Without it, you stay average. With it, you become unstoppable. So if you're under pressure right now, good, you're in the right place. It means something's being formed inside you, something strong, something rare. Diamonds aren't born without heat. Steel isn't made without fire. And champions, they're not created in comfort. They're forged in stress, in chaos, in pressure. And they come out tougher, brighter, and more dangerous than ever. Let me know if you want the next keynote expanded in the same style. You don't get to win big by thinking small. You don't build an empire by tiptoeing around fear. You want the reward. You better be ready to put something on the line. Because risk, that's the cost of greatness. That's the toll you pay at the door of every dream worth chasing. Most people talk about success like it's a wish list, like they're just waiting for life to hand them something legendary because they showed up. But life doesn't hand out trophies for participation. It hands them out to the ones who are willing to jump without a net. The ones who understand that nothing amazing ever happens when you're playing it safe. Safety is the silent killer of potential. It convinces you to shrink when you should rise. It tells you to wait when you should act. It keeps you in jobs you hate, in places you've outgrown, and around people who drain your energy. Just because the risk of change feels uncomfortable. But comfort never changed the world. Legends don't play it safe. They take the shot when there's no guarantee. They bet on themselves when everyone else hesitates. Because deep down, they know if you're not risking something, you're not gaining anything. You don't become iconic by blending in. You don't make history by playing by the rules written to keep you average. Every big move, every major shift, every powerful transformation, it started with risk. The first time you spoke up when you were supposed to stay silent. The time you left something secure to chase something uncertain. The moment you invested everything into something that could have failed. That's where the magic lies. In the tension between what's safe and what's possible. People want guarantees. But life doesn't come with those. You want certainty. Stick to routines and watch your life stay exactly the same. You want a reward. Step into the unknown and see what you're really made of. The truth is, risk is not the enemy. It's the doorway. It's the signal that you're heading in the right direction. Because anything worth doing is going to scare you. It's supposed to. If your goals don't shake your nerves a little, then they're too small. You're not meant to tiptoe through life. You're meant to burn your name into it. But that takes guts. That takes stepping up when everything in your mind is screaming at you to back down. Playing it safe might protect your ego, but it will cost you your purpose. And that's a price too high to pay. People say, what if I fail all the time? But they never stop to ask, what if you succeed? What if the thing you've been dreaming about is sitting just on the other side of that risk you're afraid to take? You'll never know if you don't go. You'll never feel what it's like to win if you don't first accept the possibility of losing. And the truth is, you're going to fail sometimes. You're going to take hits. You're going to lose money, lose people, lose sleep. But if you're playing to win, not just to survive, those losses aren't setbacks. They're fuel, they're lessons, they're firewood for the engine. No one remembers the guy who played it safe. No one builds a statue for the person who stayed in line and followed the script. They remember the ones who broke the rules, the ones who jumped out of the plane and built the parachute on the way down, The ones who walked away from average because they had the guts to gamble on greatness. Playing it safe might keep you comfortable, but comfort never made anyone legendary. The ones who rise are the ones who risk, not recklessly, but relentlessly, with precision, with purpose, with passion that overrides the fear. You want to build something that lasts. Put something on the table. Put your pride, your energy, your time, your name. Make moves that matter. Make sacrifices that sting. And when the pressure hits, don't back down, double down. Remind yourself why you started. Remind yourself that everything you want lives beyond the safety zone. You're not here to blend in. You're here to leave a mark. And you can't do that by standing still, waiting for a perfect moment. That moment doesn't exist. What exists is this: a choice. Take the risk. Pay the price. Earn the reward. Let me know when you're ready for the next keynote. Discomfort is a compass. If it scares you, it's probably worth doing. Discomfort doesn't mean stop. It means you're getting close to something real, something that's going to stretch you, change you, and shape you into who you were built to become. The problem is most people treat discomfort like it's danger. They feel that fear in their chest, that uncertainty in their gut, and they retreat. They call it a sign, as if staying small is some kind of safety. But the truth is, discomfort is a compass. It points you toward the things that matter, the things that have the power to transform you. You feel scared. Good. That's the edge. That's the line where comfort ends and growth begins. You want something real. Go to war with that feeling. Go where it gets uncomfortable. That's where you'll find who you are. The things that make you nervous, that make your heart pound and your hands shake, they're not there to break you. They're calling you up. You don't fear what doesn't matter. You don't get anxious about things that don't carry weight. You fear what has the power to elevate you. That's why it scares you. Because deep down, it means something. That speech you're afraid to give. That call you're avoiding. That risk you're hesitating to take. That move you're too scared to make. That's the path. That's where your future is hiding. And you either walk into it, or you let fear keep you boxed in, locked up, playing small while the clock keeps ticking. Discomfort is the proving ground. That tension in your chest, that resistance in your mind. It's not there to paralyze you. It's pressure, it's friction. It's the resistance that tells you you're on the right path. Growth never shows up in comfort. You'll never evolve in a room where everything's predictable. You don't level up when everything's easy. You grow when things stretch you past what you thought you could handle and the discomfort you feel. It's not punishment. It's preparation. It's the storm before the next version of you shows up, but only if you push through it. Most people feel that burn and run. You lean in, you feel the heat, and you don't flinch. That's the difference between average and exceptional. When something scares you, that's not a reason to run. That's a signal to look deeper. What are you afraid of? Failing, being seen, not being good enough. That fear is not the enemy. It's the key. It shows you the work you need to do, the insecurities you need to confront, the battles you need to fight internally. You want confidence. You don't find it in comfort. You earn it by walking straight into what scares you and doing it anyway. That's where real strength comes from. Not from fake affirmations or easy wins. From doing the hard thing when every part of you wants to quit. Most of the time, the thing you're avoiding is the very thing that will set you free. That difficult conversation. That new direction. That bold decision. You've been circling around it, waiting for the fear to leave. But fear doesn't go away. You just get louder than it. You get hungrier than it. And the only way to silence fear is through action. Discomfort is the doorway to discipline. You step through it once, and suddenly your tolerance grows. What used to scare you becomes normal. And that's how you expand. That's how you raise the bar. By doing what scares you until it doesn't. If it scares you, it's probably worth doing. That's not just a mindset, that's a code. That's how warriors live. They chase the challenge. They crave the test. They don't need easy. They need meaning, and meaning lives inside the hard stuff, the uncomfortable stuff, the work no one sees, the pressure no one wants. That's where the real ones rise. Not because it feels good, but because it means something. That fear, it's not weakness, it's direction. Follow it, not blindly, but boldly, with intent, with discipline, with fire. The dream is on the other side of discomfort, always has been. You can stay safe, you can stay hidden, you can keep repeating the same patterns until the years pass you by. Or you can break the cycle, step into the fear, embrace the discomfort, let it sharpen you, teach you, and harden you into someone who doesn't back down from what matters. Most people run from discomfort. The ones who win, they run toward it. Let me know if you'd like the next one expanded. You don't evolve in neutral growth demands gear shifts, even if it's rough. You can't move forward with your foot off the gas. You can't grow while staying in the same gear. That's not how progress works. That's not how life works. If you want change, you've got to shift. And shifting isn't always smooth. Sometimes it grinds. Sometimes it jerks the whole system. But if you stay in neutral, you don't go anywhere. You sit, you spin, you stall, and while you're stuck, life keeps moving. Time keeps ticking. And opportunities, they pass right by you. Because nothing evolves without friction. Nothing great ever came from standing still. Neutral is where most people get comfortable. It feels safe. No risk, no push, no pain. But that safety, it's an illusion. Because while you're in neutral, your dreams are dying. Your potential is shrinking. Your edge is dulling. You think you're avoiding failure, but you're actually guaranteeing regret. Staying where you are doesn't protect you. It paralyzes you. You weren't built to stay still. You were built to shift gears, to evolve, to push into the next level, even when it's rough, even when it's scary, even when it hurts, especially then. Every version of you that you've outgrown, it died the moment you shifted, the moment you said, can't stay here. That relationship, that job, that mindset, you left it behind, not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. And that shift, that was growth. You didn't always feel ready. You didn't always have the answers, but you moved, you shifted, you made the hard call. That's what separates the stuck from the strong. The ones who evolve aren't always the smartest or the fastest. They're the ones who shift when it matters. They're the ones who adapt, pivot, level up, even when it's uncomfortable. Growth doesn't come with perfect timing. It doesn't ask if you feel prepared. It shows up, knocks on your door, and says, "Are you ready to move?" And most people, they hesitate. They stay in neutral because they don't want to make the wrong move. But let me tell you something. The only wrong move is not moving, stalling, overthinking, waiting for everything to feel right before you take the leap. But life doesn't reward hesitation. It rewards execution. You want to evolve. Then stop idling. Stop waiting. Shift. You ever driven through a storm? You don't stay in first gear. You don't pull over and hope it passes. You shift. You adjust. You grind through it because you know what's on the other side. That's how growth works. It's not clean. It's not smooth. You're going to stall. You're going to misfire. But that's part of it. That's what makes it real. That's what makes it earned. The people who shift through the rough spots, those are the ones who build something worth having. The ones who stay in neutral. They don't build anything. They just exist. You can't evolve repeating yesterday. You can't expect new results doing the same things. That shift, it has to be mental, emotional, physical. You've got to change your habits, your environment, your mindset, your circle. You've got to be willing to let go of what's not working, even if it's familiar. Neutral feels good because you know it. But growth lives in the unknown. It lives in the places you've never been. in the actions you've never taken, in the discomfort you've been avoiding. And you'll never experience it unless you gear up and go. There's no such thing as perfect timing. No such thing as a clean, pain-free shift. It's going to cost you something: energy, time, comfort. But every time you shift into a new level, you get stronger, you get faster, you get sharper. That resistance you feel when you change, that's growth at work. That's transformation. And the rougher the shift, the more powerful the result. The process might rattle you, but the outcome will refine you. Staying in neutral is easy. It's predictable. But it's also the reason so many people live beneath their potential. They get stuck in habits that don't challenge them, relationships that don't grow them, jobs that don't push them, mindsets that don't serve them. And they stay because moving forward means breaking routine. It means discomfort. But that discomfort is the engine of evolution. That's what separates the talkers from the doers, the dreamers from the builders. So if the shift feels rough, good. That means you're doing something real. That means you're growing. You weren't born to coast. You were built to shift, built to evolve. And every time you do, you leave behind who you were and step into who you were meant to be. Ready for the next one. Earn your respect in the fire. Greatness is built when nobody's watching and nothing's easy. Respect isn't given. It's earned. And not in the spotlight, not when the cameras are on, not when the world's clapping. You earn it in the fire, in the lonely hours, in the moments where it's just you, your grind, and the silence. Greatness isn't built on easy wins or viral moments. It's built in the trenches, where it's ugly, where it's quiet, where no one's cheering you on. That's where the real work happens. That's where the foundation is laid. People want the rewards, but they don't want the fire. They want the respect, but they don't want to bleed for it. Doesn't work like that. You don't get strong without pressure. You don't get skilled without repetition. And you damn sure don't earn respect by cutting corners. The fire is where most people fold. It's hot. It's painful. It strips you down and exposes every weakness you've been hiding behind. It forces you to level up or get burned. And that's exactly why it's necessary. Because in the fire, there's no pretending. You can't fake discipline. You can't fake hunger. You can't fake heart. You're either built for it or you break. But if you stay in it, if you grind through it, if you show up day after day when nothing's going right, you come out sharper, stronger, dangerous. And that edge you carry, that's where respect is born. Not from what you say, but from what you survive. Everybody wants to be respected, but most aren't willing to do what it takes to earn it. They want recognition without resilience, praise without pressure. But respect doesn't live in comfort. It lives in consistency, in commitment, in the decision to keep going when you've got every excuse to quit. No spotlight, no audience, just the raw grind. That's where real ones are made. The gym before sunrise, the studio after everyone else clocks out. The long nights, the missed parties, the quiet sacrifices that nobody sees but everybody benefits from. That's the price. And only a few are willing to pay it. You know who gets remembered? The one who kept going when no one believed in him. The one who built brick by brick while the world watched and laughed, and then watched in awe. Because fire reveals the difference between hype and hunger, between loud and legendary. It burns away the fake. It humbles the arrogant. And it builds up the ones who stay solid under pressure. If you want to be great, stop waiting for easy. Stop waiting to be seen. Greatness doesn't need an audience. It needs obsession. It needs that relentless, silent pursuit of better, no matter how long it takes. There are no shortcuts to respect. You don't buy it. You don't post your way to it. You earn it through action, through effort, through those days when everything in you wants to quit, but you keep going anyway. That's what builds reputation. That's what people remember, not the flashy moments, The forged ones, the hours in the dark, the sessions nobody showed up for, the pressure you faced alone. That's where character is carved out. That's where legends are born. And don't get it twisted. Respect isn't just about what others think. It's about how you see yourself. Can you look in the mirror and say, I gave everything? Can you stand in your own fire and know you didn't fold? That's real power. That's self-respect. And once you've earned that, nothing and no one can take it from you. You don't need applause. You don't need approval. You've been tested. You've been hardened. You've earned your place. So if it's hard, good. If it's lonely, even better. That means you're in the fire. That means you're not skipping the steps. That means you're building something that can't be shaken. Something rooted in discipline, forged in adversity, and backed by experience. You can't fake fire-tested strength. You either earned it or you didn't. And when it's all said and done, the world won't remember what you posted, what you were, or what you said. They'll remember what you built, what you overcame, what you stood for when it got rough. Respect is earned in the fire, and the fire doesn't lie.